China pronounces sparkling Navy drills round Taiwan. Taipei. China's Navy introduced fresh military drills on Monday in the seas and airspace round Taiwan a day after the scheduled cease of its biggest ever sporting events to protest towards remaining weeks go to Taipei with the aid of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. China's Eastern Theater Command mentioned it'd conduct joint drills that specialize in anti-submarine and sea attack operations, confirming the fears of a few safety analysts and diplomats that Beijing might keep to hold stress on Taiwan's defenses. Pelosi's go to Taiwan last week infuriated China, which regards the self-ruled island as its very own and spoke back with Czech launches of ballistic missiles over Taipei for the first time, as well as ditching a few strains of debate with Washington. The length and unique area of the latest drills is not but regarded, but Taiwan has already eased flight regulations close to the 6 in advance Chinese workout areas surrounding the island. Shortly before the trendy drills had been introduced, Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen met journeying St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, telling him she turned into moved by means of his dedication to visit despite China's military pressure. Prime Minister Gonsalves has expressed in current days that the Chinese military drills would not save him from journeying pals in Taiwan. These statements have deeply touched us, Tsai said at a welcome right for Gonsalves in Taipei. It became doubtful if Tsai had invited Gonsalves before or after Pelosi's visit. We don't divulge internal making plans or communications among governments, the Taiwanese Overseas Ministry mentioned while asked by using. Beyond the firing of 11 short-range ballistic missiles at some point of the 4 earlier days of sporting activities, Chinese warships, fighter jets and drones maneuvered drastically around the island. Shortly earlier than the one's drills ended on Sunday, approximately 10 warships every from China and Taiwan maneuvered at close quarters around the unofficial median line of the Taiwan Strait, in line with a person familiar with the scenario who's worried with protection planning. Military talks shelved. Taiwan's defense ministry said Chinese military ships, aircraft, and drones had simulated attacks on the island and its army. It stated it had dispatched plane and ships to react correctly. China's defense ministry meanwhile maintained its diplomatic pressure on the United States, protecting its shelving of military-to-military talks in protest at Pelosi's go-to. The present-day worrying state of affairs inside the Taiwan Strait is totally provoked and created by using the U.S. side on its personal initiative, and the U.S. side ought to bear full duty and serious results for this, Defense Ministry spokesman Wu Qian mentioned in an online publish. The bottom line cannot be broken, and communication calls for sincerity, Wu said. China known as off formal talks concerning theater-level instructions, defense policy coordination and Army maritime consultations on Friday as Pelosi left the location. Pentagon, State Department and White House officers condemned the pass, describing it as an irresponsible overreaction. China's cutting of a number of its few communication links with the U.S. military raises the threat of an unintended escalation over Taiwan at a critical second, consistent with protection analysts and diplomats. L4N2ZI0BZ, one U.S. legitimate stated that Chinese officials had now not replied to calls from senior Pentagon officers amid the tensions remaining weak, however that they did now not see this as a formal severing of ties with senior figures, together with U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Asked at once approximately the one's reviews, Defense Ministry spokesman Wu mentioned, China's applicable countermeasures are an important warning to the provocations of America and Taiwan, and a legitimate defense of countrywide sovereignty and security.